Hello students, in the last class we have discussed about the concentrations, that expressions to express the concentrations. Okay, so there are different types of expressions, that uh, mass by mass percentage, volume by volume percentage, and mass by volume percentage, ppm, along with that mole fraction, molality and normality. Okay, these are all the things we have discussed in the previous classes. Okay, now in the today's class we are going to start a new topic, that is the solubility. Okay, so all of you aware about that, right? The term solubility, right? Okay, that means that some salts can be soluble into the water. Okay, and some liquids also can be soluble into some liquids. Okay, example, that sodium chloride, it is soluble into the water, right? Okay, and at the same time, the same thing, the alcohols also soluble into the water. Okay, but what is the exact definition? What is the solubility is? Okay, so that is a very simple definition, that the maximum amount of solute. Okay, so solute means that is in the small quantity. Okay, so that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent, that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent at a given temperature is termed as its solubility at that temperature. Okay, so that means, very simple, the maximum amount that of the solute that you can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent. Okay, so at a given temperature, that means during that process the temperature should be constant. Okay, so it is nothing but a solubility, Okay, so what is this is that, very simple, when you take some water, okay, some means just you take, suppose 100 ml of water. Okay, and at a particular temperature T, during this process you should not change the temperature. Okay, so in this 100 ml of water, the maximum amount of sodium chloride that you can be dissolved, the maximum amount of sodium chloride that can be dissolved is nothing but the solubility. Okay, at this temperature, that you assume at room temperature of 30 degrees centigrade. Okay, of course, when you increases the temperature or when you changes the temperature, this solubility can be affected, that we will discuss later. Okay, but first of all you should have a clear idea that what is the solubility. Okay, right. So the solubility definition is over, and the next, what factors can affect onto the solubility. Okay, so that is, there are few factors which can affect on the solubility. That the first one is that nature of the solute. Obviously, right, what you are going to be dissolved is nothing but a solute, and definitely it will depends on the nature of the solute. Okay, and similarly nature of the solvent. Okay, and along with that, already I told you that there is a effect of temperature also. There is a effect of temperature of the solution, and the last one is the pressure. Okay, so there are four factors which will affect on the solubility. Okay, so now in this section, or that means in this chapter, we are going to discuss the solubility of the two kinds of solution. One is solid in liquid, and second one is the gas in the liquid. Okay, so that means in the both the cases, what are those two things? First one, we are going to see the solubility of the solid in liquid, and the second one is the solubility of gas in liquid. Okay, so that means in both the cases the solvent is liquid. Okay, and what is the variant? That is a solute. Okay, so in one case we will see the solute as a solid, and in another case the solute as a gas. Okay, so first we can go with the solubility of the solid in liquid. Okay, right. So that is the first A, that is the solubility of a solid in a liquid. Okay, so that means here, what is the solvent? The solvent obviously a liquid, which is in the more amount or more in the quantity, right? Okay, and second one is the solute. What is the solute? The solute is a solid. Okay, so now we can see the variant factors, how it can affect is that. Okay, first of all, you know that the best example for the solubility of a solid in liquid is that, you know very well, at home you can see the solubility of the sodium chloride into the water, and similarly the solubility of the sugar into the water. Okay, so these are the best examples at your home. Okay, and you know that the solubility of one substance into the another depends on the nature of the substances. Okay, so that means already I told you that it depends on the different parameters. Okay, so first thing, it depends on the, what I said, nature of the solute as well as the nature of the solvent. Okay, so these two factors simultaneously I will explain here. Okay, so that is the nature of the solvents, and you write solvents and solute, nature of the solvents and solutes. Okay, so simultaneously I will explain both the factors on the exam, on the solubility of the solids. Okay, you know that very well, the examples for this, the solubility of the solid in liquid, the best examples, you know that at your home, the solubility of the sodium chloride in water, and the second one is that, you know that the solubility of sugar or glucose in water. These are the best examples. Okay, solids, because these are the solids, right? Right. So first we can see that the nature of the solvent, nature of the solute as well as the solvent. Okay, so you know that generally the polar solutes dissolve in a polar solvents, and non-polar solutes dissolves in the non-polar solvents. Okay, so somewhere you learn, right, what is the polar solvent, what is the non-polar solvent. Okay, somewhere in the chemical bonding lesson, right? Okay, so what is the polar solvent? Whenever that the dipole moment of a given molecule is not is equal 0, then you can say it as a polar. Okay, if it is a 0, then you can say that it is a non-polar, right? Okay, right. So generally there is a like dissolves like dissolves like. Okay, so that is polar solutes dissolves in the polar solvents, and similarly non-polar solutes dissolves in the non-polar solvents. Okay, so in general you see that a solute dissolves in a solvent. Okay, so what I said is that polar solute dissolves in the polar solvents. Okay, so that means what, why that polar solvent dissolves only in the polar solvents, why the non-polar solvents dissolves only in the non-polar solvents, is that it is depends on the intermolecular attractions between them. It depends only on the intermolecular attractions. Okay, if the polar is there, the intermolecular attractions are different, and polar solutes dissolves in the polar solvent, because in the both the cases the intermolecular force of attractions are same. Okay, intermolecular attractions are same. Okay, similarly in the non-polar, between the non-polar, same kind of attractions will be there. Okay, so that is the reason why they can dissolve in each other. Okay, right. So let us see one example, right? What is that example? Is that very simple. You know that every solid does not dissolve in a given liquid. The example is that the sodium chloride and sugar, these two are the polar solutes. Okay, dissolves readily into the water, because water is again a polar. Okay, but when you go to the naphthalene, you know the naphthalene balls, right? And that is a non-polar one. You know that naphthalene and anthracene. Okay, and these do not dissolve into the water, because these two are the non-polar. These two are non-polar, so that they cannot dissolve into the water, because water is a polar. But on the other hand, the naphthalene and anthracene dissolves readily into the benzene, because benzene is a non-polar, but cannot dissolve into the water, right? But the same sodium chloride sugar, they do not dissolve into the benzene, because benzene is a non-polar. The sodium chloride and sugar are the polar ones. Okay, so these are the best examples to understand the solubility of the solids into the liquids, and the effects of the solute as well as the solvent. Okay, And based on this, so there are few terms, important terms, which are more important, right, in the solubility of the solid into the liquid, solubility of the solid into the liquid. Okay, so first we will discuss these important things, then we can go back to the effect of temperature and effect of pressure. Okay, so what are the terms is that the first term is the dissolution and the second term is the crystallization. Okay, what is the dissolution and what is the crystallization? Okay, so first dissolution. What is the dissolution? You know that what will happen when you take some amount of the water, let us assume this is 100 ml of water. Okay, and when you add little amount of some 1 gram of sodium chloride into this, what will happen? Whenever you added that sodium chloride, immediately that slowly dissolves into the water, okay. So that means what is happening? It is dissolving, okay. So that process is nothing but the dissolution, okay. So that is when a solid solute is added to the solvent, some solute dissolves and its concentration increases, okay, in the solution. This process is known as a dissolution. Okay. And what about the crystallization, the other term? What is the crystallization? Is that it is exactly opposite to that, okay. And you know that what is an example is that suppose you have taken some water into a vessel, you know very well examples at your home also. Let us take some salted water, and you know that nowadays the groundwater is a totally polluted one, okay, that contains the maximum amount of the salts, okay. Even if you at your home you just take a salted water and keep aside for long time, 2 to 3 days, okay, and after that you can see that there is a formation of some layer on the walls, formation of some kind of white layers, okay. Have you observed or not? I don't know, but in the most of the cases when you fill not the filter water and raw water, okay, and when you keep it for long time, 2 to 3 days, what will happen? You can see some kind of layer formation on this, that is a white layer formation, okay. So what is that white layer? We are not going to be worried, but how it is forming, okay. So where it is coming from is that it is coming from water only, right? Earlier there are some salts are there in this, in the water, and those salts slowly come together and attach to each other and form some kind of solid layer, okay, onto the walls of the whatever that vessel, okay. So that means what is happening here? Whatever the soluble salts are coming out, slowly the soluble salts are coming out, okay. So this is nothing but the crystallization, because they are forming some kind of crystals, okay. So now you can call this as a crystallization process, okay. It is exactly opposite to the dissolution, because in the dissolution it is dissolving, but in the crystallization it is coming out, from the solution, okay, right. So you see the definition. What is the crystallization? Is that some solute particles in a solution collide with the solid solute particles. That means all the solute particles, they will collide with each other and get separated out of the solution. This process is known as a crystallization. This process is called as crystallization, okay. And another term, that is a dynamic equilibrium. Okay. Dynamic means it is on the move, okay, right. So what is this dynamic equilibrium? Is that you know that at certain stage, okay. So that means you are adding some solute to the solvent, and after some time what will happen? It will go to the maximum dissolution, and then after that what will happen? The dissolved solutes collide each other and come out. Okay, so that means when the two process dissolution and crystallization occur at the same rate, okay, that means just you go with an example that so here is the water is there and you are adding some salt, or you assume that you are adding some salt. Okay, so first when you add a little amount of the salt, what will happen? Suppose you added 5 grams of salt, what will happen? It will slowly dissolve into the water. Okay, but again you added some more 5 grams of water. Okay, so you assume that okay, that is also dissolved into it, but again when you added some more 5 grams, okay, so then what will happen? So slowly whatever that dissolved salt, what will happen? That dissolved salt slowly collide each other and form some kind of separation. You can see some kind of separations. Okay, so that means here what is happening? Initially it is dissoluting, but when you added more amount of the salt, what is happening? Slowly it is getting separation. Okay, so that means here both processes are happening. One is the dissolution and the second one is the crystallization. Okay, and both are in the dynamic, that dynamic means both are happening simultaneously, okay, so that means you don't assume that one is separated, means don't assume this total amount is separated and remaining is soluble. Okay, don't assume like that, because during the period what will happen? During some time, in this some amount can be dissolved and from this something can come out. Okay, and something go into the water and something come out. Okay, so this you cannot see with your eyes, it is not visible, but it is a dynamic, it can happen, you cannot see with your eyes. Okay, by looking it looks like that it is a static. Okay, it appears that nothing is coming out, nothing is going into that, but it is dynamic, something can go and something can come out. Okay, so that process is whenever the dissolution, the rate of dissolution is equal to the rate of crystallization, then you can say that is a dynamic process. Okay, so that means the dissolved salt is equilibrium with the crystallized salts. Okay, so that means suppose 1 gram is dissolving, at the same time the 1 gram can come out. Okay, that 1 gram when you go into the solution, similarly the 1 gram come out. Okay, so there the condition you call it as a dynamic equilibrium. Okay, I think you are all clear about this, right? All of you clear? So under such conditions, the number of solute particles going into the solution will be equal to the solute particles, obviously, right? At the dynamic equilibrium, what will happen? The number of solute particles going into the solution will be equal to the solute particles separating out. Okay, and a state of dynamic equilibrium is reached. Okay, that state now you can call it as a dynamic equilibrium. Okay, so there what is happening? The rate of dissolution is equal to the rate of condensation or rate of crystallization. Okay, and at this stage the concentration of solute in the solution will remain constant under the given condition. Okay, obviously the solute concentration will be constant, because 1 gram is going out and 1 gram is coming out. Okay, so there is no net change, okay, so that you can say that the solute concentration is constant. Okay, so that is a dynamic equilibrium. Okay, and again there are few more important terms, very important terms. Okay, so you know that depending upon the amount of solute dissolved into the solvent, so the solutions are classified into the 3 types. Okay, so those first one is the unsaturated, saturated and supersaturated. Okay, in Telugu you know that asantrupta, santrupta and ati santrupta Dravanalu. Okay, so what is this unsaturated and saturated and supersaturated? Okay, so I'll go with an example. Just you look at here, with this you can understand very easily. Okay, suppose you take same amount of the water into the three beakers, and you suppose you are taking in the three beakers same amount of the water, 100 ml of water. In this also 100 ml, and in this also 100 ml of water. Okay, and in this 100 ml of water there is a solubility, the maximum solubility of the sodium chloride, you assume it as a 10 grams. Okay, that means you cannot dissolve more than this. Intak minchi meeru dissolve cheyaleru. Okay, so what I will do is that in the first beaker I will add only 3 grams of sodium chloride. Okay, and in the second case I'll add whatever the required 10 grams of sodium chloride, and in the third case I'll add more than that, 20 grams. I'll go with the 20 grams of sodium chloride. Okay, and now you see that here the amount of the solute which is less than the required one, that means you can dissolve more than 3 grams, right? Because the maximum capacity is 10 grams. Okay, so that you can dissolve more than the 3 grams. Okay, right? But here you are dissolving whatever that less amount of the salt. Okay, but here you are dissolving the required amount of the salt, right? But here you are going with the more amount of the salt. Okay, so what will happen then here? After dissolving this, you can dissolve some more extra also, right? Okay, but here already the required salt you are dissolved, and you are not going to be dissolved anything extra into this. Okay, but here already you dissolved extra. Generally it is only 10, but you added extra. Okay, so that means you are not at all going to be add anything extra to here. Okay, so these three types of solutions, now you can call it as, here you call this as a unsaturated. That means it can you can dissolve more than this, dissolve more than this. Okay, so that you call it as a unsaturated. Then what is this saturated? You call it as a saturated. That means already you added the required amount of the quantity. But what is this? This is a super saturated. That means you added more than the required one. Okay, right. So now you see into the words, what is this unsaturated? A solutions in which more solute can be dissolved without raising the temperature. Okay, so that means earlier we added 3 grams, so you can dissolve more, you can be dissolved more than that. Okay, so that is nothing but a unsaturated. Then what about the saturated? So a solution in which no solute can be dissolved further. Okay, that means already the required one you dissolved. Okay, you cannot going to be dissolved more than this. Okay, that is a saturated. And what about the supersaturated? The supersaturated is nothing but a solution which contains already enough amount, it is more than the solute, that you can call it as a supersaturated solution. Okay, so now all of you clear about the unsaturated, saturated and supersaturated solutions. Okay, now we can go to the remaining factors. Already I told you that later we can discuss about the remaining two factors, that is the effect of temperature and effect of pressure. Okay, so you know that the solubility of a solid in a liquid is significantly affected by the temperature. In most of the cases it will be increases, the solubility increases with increasing the temperature. The best example is that, and you know that at your home generally when you go with the sugar, right? Sugar, మనకు ఇంట్లో అప్పాలు చేస్తారు కదా, బెల్లప్పాలు చేసేటప్పుడు షుగర్ ఏం చేస్తారు, they'll go and heat that one. Okay, పానకం చేస్తారు, అవునా కదా? So what is happening there? When you increases the temperature, the sugar solubility increases. Okay, మీరు టెంపరేచర్ యాడ్ చేయడం ముందు, టెంపరేచర్ ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయక ముందు యూ కెనాట్ డిజాల్వ్ దట్, రైట్? ఓకే, సో వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు, టెంపరేచర్ కింద హీట్ చేస్తూ ఇంకా ఎక్స్ట్రా అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ షుగర్ని యాడ్ చేస్తూ వెళ్తూ ఉంటారు, అవునా కదా? సో దట్ మీన్స్ it is a simple process. The solubility, they are increasing with increasing the temperature, with increasing the temperature. Okay, so that is a general example, all of you know at your home. Okay, but it depends on two types again. So some process are the endothermic and some solubility process are the exothermic. Okay, so you know that what is the exothermic and what is the endothermic, that you learned in the thermodynamics. Okay, if that process, the solubility process, dissolution process is endothermic, ante daniki it requires heat. It requires heat. So require heat ఉన్న దగ్గర మీరు temperature increase చేశారనుకోండి, obviously the solubility increase. If suppose that process is the exothermic అంటే ఏంటి, it releases the heat. Okay, already it releasing the heat. Okay, again when you increases the temperature, what will happen, it decreases the solubility decreases. Okay, the best example is that for the endothermic process, sodium chloride into the water. For the exothermic process, sodium hydroxide into the water. Okay, right. The last factor, that is the effect of pressure. So generally the pressure does not have any significant effect on the solubility of the solids into the liquids, right? Okay, the best example, you know that, take the sodium chloride and dissolves into the water, and you add more amount of the sodium chloride and you try to increase the pressure. How can you increase the pressure? You keep some you increase the pressure by making some kind of arrangement, some piston. Okay, you arrange a piston and you try to increase the pressure. Okay, is it possible? No, because when you increases the pressure, generally the gases can be compressible, but the liquid and solids cannot be compressed with increasing the pressure. Okay, so that you cannot, whatever the effect of pressure is a insignificant, it is not a significant factor. Okay, what is the significant factor? That is the effect of temperature and nature of the solute as well as the solvent on the solubility of solids into the liquids. Okay, so what are the here important thing is that the types of solutions, that is the saturated, unsaturated and supersaturated, and the effect of temperature as well as the nature of the solute as well as the solvent into the solubility of the solids into the liquids. Okay, now into the next lecture we are going to see the solubility of a gas into the liquid. Okay.